We have so much insane NFL news for you guys today. So real quick before we get to the content, we hit 400,000 subscribers, man. I can't even wrap my head around the fact that we got to 400,000 subscribers. And to thank you guys, we're giving away a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, man, because honestly, I do this content for each and every member of Mike Mafia, and you guys have had my backs throughout the years, whether you're one of the 50 members that decide to support me directly through our channel memberships program, or if you're just someone that is just leaving a like and supporting and commenting on all of my videos. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So thank you for 400,000 subscribers, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. I do have big plans for us in the future, including showing my ugly ass face on camera a little bit more once I get to 50,000 Instagram followers. So if you aren't followed over there, make sure to check us out. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? One of the most intriguing parts of being a NFL fan over the past 2 decades is something that I could attest to is I haven't really seen a lot of quarterback movement. If you're a transcendent NFL QB, typically you stay with one team throughout the duration of your career. The first aberration to the statement that I've made was probably in the mid-2010s when I saw Peyton Manning leave the Indianapolis Colts following a 2012 NFL season, so the Indianapolis Colts could draft Andrew Luck, who was perceived to be the Trevor Lawrence of his time, or the next John Elway, or the next Peyton Manning himself, which I don't mean to get too finicky here. I think that was always a mistake. I think they should have drafted Andrew Luck, kept Peyton Manning for one more year, and then let Peyton Manning ride off into the sunset, or maybe then let Peyton Manning go to a different team, but I digress. But we've been seeing this happen more and more, and it's been so fascinating. Last year, we saw Tom Brady leave the New England Patriots to join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And at the time, I even thought that may have not paid off for Tom Brady really well. I thought that, hey, how much of Bill Belichick's game planning was essential to Tom Brady's success? But right then and there, I was wrong as well. And as a result, I guess this past offseason, we saw a bunch of other QBs starting to take a similar route. A bunch of quarterbacks saw Tom Brady go from the New England Patriots to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, build a remarkable roster around him, and then take that team straight to a Super Bowl. But one of the reasons that I think he is one of the greatest QBs of all time is because he not only succeeds on the football field, he doesn't only make the proper reads and is a master tactician, he doesn't only throw footballs with pinpoint laser accuracy, but he's the king of situational football. He saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and said, wow, look at that wide receiver core. And oh my God, look at that defense. Look at Devin White and Shaq Barrett and Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul. I should easily win football games at the age of 43 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And well, as a result of this, you're starting to see players coming out and saying, hey, I want to be a part of more personnel decisions. One of the biggest examples of a player being frustrated for not having a huge input with his team is Deshaun Watson. Now, if you guys want to hear the entire story of the Deshaun Watson saga, we've made a lot of videos on it, and I'll give you a brief 1-minute recap just so you guys can get an idea, because it's very deep and really dense, and it takes a weird twist at some point where he gets involved in a lawsuit for quote-unquote misconduct with various massage therapists. So here's what you have to know. A year ago, the Houston Texans decided to trade DeAndre Hopkins, and this goes even deeper than a year ago. This really all started a few years ago when the Houston Texans decided to trade their left tackle. Now, in Deshaun Watson's rookie year, the Houston Texans decided to trade Dwayne Brown to the Seattle Seahawks to get a 2019 second-round pick and a 2018 fifth-round pick, which in hindsight would have been a pretty decent deal considering the fact that Dwayne Brown was really old if the Houston Texans had a succession plan at left tackle, but unfortunately they did not. So Deshaun Watson would tear his ACL a few weeks later during practice, and he would miss the remainder of what was supposed to be a remarkable rookie year for him. By the time he would come back in 2018, Deshaun Watson had such a poor offensive line that he showed Texans fans some flashes of David Carr when David Carr was first drafted to the Houston Texans, getting sacked a league-high 62 times that season, which pretty much communicated to the Houston Texans in 2019 that they needed to go ahead and get Deshaun Watson some help at left tackle, which they did. They did so by trading 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and 2 players to the Miami Dolphins to get Laremy Tunsil in return, which isn't necessarily the worst pickup. It was just a lot of capital to give up for a left tackle. Bear in mind, Laremy Tunsil wasn't even drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft. And as a result of this, Laremy Tunsil had all of the leverage in contract negotiations with the Houston Texans whenever it was time for a contract extension. The icing on the cake here was last year when the Houston Texans decided to trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, who was way past his prime and wasn't nearly the difference maker that DeAndre Hopkins was. And fortunately for the Texans, this didn't even bother Deshaun Watson that badly. What bothered him was after a full season playing for the Houston Texans and putting up the best statistics of his entire career, throwing for 70% of his completions for 4,800 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions for a QB rating of 112. Well, the Houston Texans were just good enough to be the 3rd worst team in the entire NFL. And here's the worst part. They didn't even have their first-round draft pick to get Deshaun Watson some additional help. And all of this didn't even bother Deshaun Watson so much. All he said was, hey, we have to get a new head coach. We have to get a new general manager. There's vacancies at those positions. Please consult me on these matters before we go ahead and hire such a person. And the Houston Texans couldn't even do that. This eventually alienated Deshaun Watson, and as a result, he was in a bunch of trade rumors. Earlier in the offseason, my favorite team for him to get traded to was the Miami Dolphins. They had so many draft picks, not only this year, but also next year as well. They were building a rock-solid culture, and in my opinion, I thought they were the best team for Deshaun Watson to be the captain of. But the Houston Texans would relent as Deshaun Watson would get into these allegations about misconduct with 50-something masseuses supposedly, which we made a whole video on that if you guys want to go check that out. And at this point, things got really quiet, and there was a little cat and mouse game between the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson about whether or not he's going to get traded. Now, fortunately, today, things got a little bit better, as Deshaun Watson had to report to Houston Texans training camp to avoid mandatory $50,000 fines for skipping practice sessions, according to a source. So the good news here for Deshaun Watson is the Houston Texans are officially open to finally trading him, but they are looking for maximum value despite the possibility that Watson could still be suspended by the NFL. That's because the team acquiring Watson won't just be getting a franchise QB for the 2021 season, but for the foreseeable future. And to be honest, I love what the Houston Texans are doing here, and I actually agree. Their stance here is that they're getting, if you're trading for Deshaun Watson, you could sleep easy at night knowing that this guy was drafted in 2017, is coming off the best season of his career, is a hell of a competitor. You don't have to be concerned about whether or not you're going to get a draft bust or not. And we've seen teams trade multiple draft picks for a chance at a franchise QB. Look no further than the San Francisco 49ers this past year. So it should be no problem for another team to give up a minimum, and this is reportedly, I could be wrong here, 3 first-round draft picks to get Deshaun Watson. So to make things clear, according to Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, the Houston Texans are now willing to listen, and have been for some time, to trade offers for star QB Deshaun Watson. Multiple sources tell me and Ian Rappaport, but the price is high for a player of his caliber and should be. It will likely take at least 3 first-round picks and more. When he reported at Camp Sunday, Watson was respectful, but his demeanor reiterated that he doesn't want to be in Houston. The question is, will a team step up with the type of massive offer that would compel the Houston Texans to move him now? Watson would also have to waive his no-trade clause. Now, Pelissero continues saying that interested teams have done work on Deshaun Watson's legal situation, and the NFL hasn't placed him on the exempt list, and the civil cases won't go to trial this year. If a team gets comfortable with that piece, it's a rare opportunity to acquire one of the NFL's best young QBs. So like I said before, you have security in knowing that Deshaun Watson is a stud, a future star in this league, is currently a star in this league. So the question goes to who has the capital to acquire a player of Deshaun Watson's caliber. My two favorite teams here, I already made a video on the Eagles being probably the favorite to acquire Deshaun Watson due to their draft capital situation. You're talking about a team that could potentially have 3 first-round picks in next year's NFL draft alone. But another team is the Miami Dolphins, because the Miami Dolphins have 3 first-round picks in the next 2 NFL drafts, a young quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa, and an all-pro quarterback in Xavier Howard, who actually skipped mandatory minicamp over a contract dispute. So there are multiple pieces here, and it seems like the Miami Dolphins check off all of the boxes to acquire a player of Deshaun Watson's caliber. On Houston's end, this makes a lot of sense because now you could jumpstart your rebuild and you could begin mitigating the damage that Bill O'Brien did to your team. Getting 3 first-round picks and a star player, and also getting out of Deshaun Watson's contract after paying it this year should do wonders in helping your team finally be able to rebuild after the monstrosity that happened underneath the famous butt chin. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this news. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.